you for joining today's webinar on Workbooks, Word Add-in, and Word Templates. My name is Heather Arif, and I'm a customer support analyst here at Workbooks. Before we get started, here's a quick look at our past and upcoming webinars. If you found today's or if you found previous sessions useful, I definitely encourage you to register for some of the upcoming sessions. Before we get started, let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. We will begin with a short introduction on Workbooks Word Add-in, covering what it is and how it fits into your day-to-day processes. Also, touch on how it's deployed by your 365 admin. From there, we will look at the core components involved so you understand what's required to get everything working. We will then move on to creating a Word template, Workbooks report, and learn how to link these components within Workbooks. I'll show you how to use these templates in practice, generate documents directly from your records. We'll also cover some tips and tricks. And finally, we'll wrap up with a quick recap and open the floor for any questions. Let's start with what is the Workbooks Word Add-in. At a high level, it allows you to automatically generate documents by pulling data directly from Workbooks into your Microsoft Word template. Instead of manually copying and pasting information, the add-in merges your Workbooks record data straight into predefined placeholders within your document, which are the merge blocks. This not only saves you time, but also helps reduce errors and ensures your document stays consistent and professional. To give this some context, here are a few common ways customers use the Word add-in. One of the main use cases is generating documents like codes, proposals, using the data from Workbooks. It's also widely used for invoices and order confirmations, where accuracy and consistency are really important. Customers may also use it for contracts and agreements, ensuring everything is standardized and populated with the correct data. You can also use it for personalized communications like letters or account summaries. Prior to building the Word template and reviewing configurations required in Workbooks, we will need the Microsoft 365 admin to deploy the Word add-in application for your Microsoft tenant. Do note it can take up to 24 hours for the add-in to successfully deploy. More information on deploying the Word add-in can be found on our knowledge base. So there are three core components that need to be set up for the Workbooks Word add-in to work successfully. The first is the Word template. The second is a Workbooks report that supplies data. And finally, a template record in Workbooks that links the Microsoft Word template and the Workbooks report. Now, let's look at the first core component, which is designing your Word template. Workbook does provide some examples of pre-built Word templates for transaction documents on our knowledge base that can be used as a starting point. You build the Word template directly in Microsoft Word, just like a normal Word document. Then you can add your branding, headings, tables, and structure, which is the fixed text that doesn't get updated by the Workbooks Word add-in. You can also insert placeholders with the Workbooks report column's name enclosed in square brackets that will be populated with data shared within the Word add-in from a Workbooks report. Similarly, image placeholders can be used to pull in images stored in a Workbooks field. The placeholder has the Workbooks report column's name that is looking at the image field with an additional parameter after the add symbol. So the Word add-in knows that it is meant to display an image, and we can also specify the width or height of an image. For example, if we wanted to display an image of 100 pixels, we would update the additional parameter by inserting a comma and entering 100x, like so. Um, Following on from the image placeholder, we can also add HTML or rich text placeholder to pull in data from workbooks pre-formatted, such as bold or highlighted text. And this too requires an additional parameter, which is similar to the image placeholder. So it will be uh, the workbooks reports column name followed by @ symbol and the text HTML and close in square brackets. Workbook add-in also supports tables that iterate to produce multiple rows. This is commonly used to add line items from transaction documents, but this isn't limited to line items and can be used to show activities related to people, cases, and organizations. To ensure when the data is merged, the layout remains consistent, aligned, and professional, use unformatted tables. Let's quickly look at the word template example available on our knowledge base. Right. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, Workbook does provide some predefined Word templates, and along with that, within Workbooks, you also have a set of template reports that you can use to create the templates for the Word add-in. We'll talk about the reports in a moment, but let's start by creating our Word template. For our example, let's use customer codes. So now that we have the file, let me just quickly open that up. So this is how a Word template looks like. And as you can see, these are the placeholders that will be populated by the Word add-in. And there is, for example, this customer quotation or the table structure, which is static, much like the payment terms, which doesn't change, which is not changed by the Word add-in, but anything enclosed in the square brackets that relates to the column name in the report used by the Word add-in will be populated by the Word add-in. So this is the standard one, and what we will do is we will just quickly create a update this slightly by update the structure slightly. Actually, sorry. Let's do this. Insert columns to right. And let's say we want to add the image of the product that we're selling. So over here, as I mentioned, we'll enter the report name, report column name in close brackets. So I'll remember, I'll make a note of the placeholder name that I'm giving here so that I can use it when putting together my report. So I'll say product image. And if you remember, we had to use the @ image. So good. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, apologies. Add image parameter, and then we want to specify the height to be, sorry, the width to be 50 pixels. So I'll enter that as so. Right. Sorry. And now if I save this document, Word template quotations, product image. Great. Now that we have our Word template, we will go back to our slide deck. Um, And we'll go back to our slide and then go over the next element, next core component, which is building the report. You can start by creating a report based on the record type. On the record type you have built a Word template for, or you can choose to use the pre-built template report in Workbooks, which we'll see in a second. From there, you can add fields that your Word template needs, making sure they align with your placeholders. Column names within the report need to have exactly the same spelling as the merge fields on your Word template. If your document includes related data like organizations, details, or line items, these need to be included in the report as well. There has to be a report column for the records ID. It's also best practice to keep reports as simple as possible so they run quickly and return the correct data for your documents. And also carefully consider any criteria you may apply to the report. If a record does not appear in the report, you might be unable to create the Word document you wanted. Remember to share reports with users who will be using the Word add-in, as without the correct permissions, correct permissions for the report, the Word add-in will not function as expected. Let's look at the next key component before we jump into the product. Finally, we will link the Word template and the Workbooks report using a template record in Workbooks. So we'll have to do this in configuration, and we'll see this in a moment. And on the template record, we'll upload the Word document, select the report that will act as a data source. Once linked, the template becomes available on record types for users to generate Word documents. Let's now jump into Workbooks to see how this works in practice using standard quotation Word template we downloaded from the knowledge base, as well as the modified Word template. So let's start by using the template report in Workbooks for Word add-in. So if I went to template name and filter as so, I can see there is a template report for quotations, which is perfect. I'll give it a meaningful name. Right? I'll just double check, and yeah, and then I'll click run, which is great because given the fact that we downloaded the quotation, the Word template for code from our KB, and this is a template report, we don't need to make any additional changes, and it's ready to use. So let's quickly set up the template record. So for that, go into configurations, templates, my template or all templates, click on new template, and now select Word template. Finally, click on customer quotations, give it a name. So I'll call it standard UTE. Now let's upload the Word template that we have got. So this is the standard one we'll start with. Now let's select the report that is going to be used as a data source. The ID column that is needed by the Word add-in to identify which document the data is required for. And now for the file column name. So this will be the name that will be generated when you click on the Word, um, when you try and generate the Word template for a specific document. And this is based on the columns on in your report. So it could be column name, but let's actually go with code reference. Sorry, code name, but for now we'll go with code reference. I'll click activate here. Great. Now, if I go back to my code record, click save, now we'll have the Word button appear. So if I click on standard code now, it's downloaded this file for us. I'll quickly bring it across to the screen. There we go. Now, let's open up the Word add-in. You have to log into your Word add-in. Quickly log in for you. Great. And now you can see the Word add-in has successfully populated all of the placeholders using the data from the report. It pulls across some of the information. It has successfully pulled across the information from the report, and we can now choose to either upload it to Workbooks, to the record in Workbooks, or save it locally. And we'll upload it as a PDF back to the original record in Workbooks. Great. Now let's go back to record here, click Save. Look at the Files tab, and it has generated the PDF, but also our Word document has been successfully generated here. So I'll save this to share if you wanted to share it with your customers directly to Workbooks. Now, let's try setting up the Word template for the based on the Word template we modified, which is essentially a copy of the standard one with just an additional placeholder for the image field. So for that, we'll have to start by taking a copy of the original report, and let's call it, let's just change the name slightly, product image, go to details, and now we'll have to have a column here for the placeholder in our Word template, which is product image. So let's start by going into the line items, products. I think it's picture file, right? And just remember to make sure, just remember that the report column name has to be exactly the same as the placeholder on your Word template, which is, and for us, it's product image. Great. Save and close that. Run the report. Great. Now let's go back into configuration and again, go with the same steps to create a template record. So let's say QTE product image. Let's upload the Word template we created earlier. Let's select the correct report, select the correct ID column. There we go. And then this time we'll choose to go with the code name instead of the code reference as the file name. I'll click activate. Great. Now let's go back to our quotation record. Click save. And it should be available for us now. It's downloaded. Let's open that file again. Great. Again, let's open the Word add-in. There we go. Perfect. And now the Word add-in has successfully finished populating all of our placeholders. And as you can see, it's quite easy to set up as long as we have made sure that the placeholder the naming is exactly the same as in report, as in the report used. And then again, we can choose to either upload the document as a PDF or say store it locally and share it. Let's go back to our slide deck. So just a few quick tips for Word template. For for example, if you're going to use percentage values, you need to add the percentage symbol after the placeholder on your Word template, as this doesn't get pulled across automatically via the word add-in. Right align the numbers in the table so they line up neatly when rendering the document. Use tables with hidden borders to keep layouts clean, structured, and consistent. And for credit notes, remember they're stored as negative values. So use a calculated field if you want to display the credit note as a positive value. And a few quick tips on for building reports for the Word template. Give your report clear name or categorize them as Word add-ins so it's easier to find them when configuring the template record in Workbooks. Keep the criteria for reports simple so they run faster and data is available to be pulled into the placeholders. And if you need specific date formats, you can configure this for specific columns in your report. To recap, we discussed we touched upon what is the word add-in, talked about some use cases for the word add-in, and then looked at deploying the word add-in. Finally, we touched upon the three core components of word add-in, which are the word template, report in workbooks, and the template record in workbooks. And what we just saw previously, we also touched upon some tips and tricks on the word add-in. Any questions? Um, so we've just received a question from Jason. Is this an effective replacement for the XSLT scripts that are used for generating PDFs um, from invoice record? It depends what your use case is. If you don't plan on changing information quite often, then I guess PDF is a better way to do it. But if you did plan on making small changes every time the document is generated, then Word Add-in is more preferable. As we saw, it's easier to configure, whereas PDF, you would need to update the XML file, sorry, XSL file, I believe. Does that answer your question, Jason? So yes, the PDFs there are the standard ones, but if you did want to include some additional fields or did want to update the PDF or want to customize the PDF, it can be challenging. So that was another question from Jason that there was a PDF button. Thank you, Jason. Anybody else? Thank you. I guess we'll move on then. So our next webinar is going to be held on the 1st of July at 4 p.m., which is on deduplicating records. Please do visit our knowledge base as it's a great place to start if you have any questions, and there is a ton of material available on the Word add-in. Authorized support contacts can raise a support ticket via the case portal or by getting in touch with their account manager. We also have a lot of free training resources available on our website, so please do check them out. You can also access our past recordings by visiting the URL on the screen. Thank you for attending and see you next time.